And no, I'm weak. Is that Katy Perry?
Looks like it.
Queen
I should probably
Carrie.
turn this off.
Oh shit! Trying not to knock your ass off this couch, so pick a location.
Bum 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 bum. I'm gonna try to do this entire podcast without saying 100 times.
Did you say is that?
I've already
thing?
said it.
I think recently I was at work and I was trying to explain something to somebody and damn it, I just did it. But fuck. see, so what I was getting at is once you're like aware of the fact that you're trying not to say like or anything like
Those
that,
filler words.
you'll
yeah.
say it like 15 times within that statement alone.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Fuck. God damn it. This podcast not brought to you by you got Sierra Nevada.
I don't.
Not brought to you by Sierra Nevada.
Or no, I have New Belgium.
So again, not sponsored, but presented.
Not
by.
sponsored, but still powered by the flavors of. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, I actually have an intro.
Ooh.
So it's
Like
welcome to the Cold Soup. No, not the Cold Soup podcast. Damn it, Sierra already fucked it up.
The
Welcome to the Underachievers Podcast, presented by Cold Soup. I am your co-host, Marco. It'd be softer though. It'd be a lot.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were passing to me or if I was like,
that's what
this week my name is Nosferatu Little Skin.
I thought about also changing it up, but I just don't have the mental.
I
capability
don't know
to
if you always
change it.
need like an intro. It's like when you hang out with people in real life, you don't like have an intro to conversation. You kind of just say hello and then
You say what's up.
and
What's up
I've
with
already
it?
been at your house for like a half an hour to be like, hey,
Yeah.
how are you?
Yeah.
I
But-
know I hold it off saying this for 30
Yeah,
minutes
no.
so that we could get it on a fucking recording.
I was
It's like,
I was purposely like trying not to say anything, like
yeah,
to
no, I
have
get
too many
that.
conversations.
I totally get that.
because whenever we do get that like
Good
first
stuff out
like
first.
30 minutes of just like setting everything up, we're always like, oh, blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, well no, we're just gonna talk about this again
Yeah.
on mic. So
Yeah.
I was just like, today I'm like, I'm gonna say as little as
Just gonna
possible,
shun
but then
me.
yeah,
I felt
just,
so hated.
yeah, I felt
Just
very
talking to
strange.
his dog, looking for his supplies.
Yeah, well,
I don't think it ever existed, man. You just made me look around so that you had all that time to kill. Disgusting. So how many days is it to your wedding now?
14.
14. That's 2 fucking weeks.
That's 2 weeks, man. Yeah,
That's
it's-
scary, man.
What's today? No, today's Wednesday. So yeah, yesterday would
Scary
be like
and-
2 weeks.
Yeah, scary is a bad word to
to
use.
the
Sorry.
day.
I feel like when people ask that
sca-
question, they're like, "Are you afraid of getting married?" It's like them trying to put it in your head.
So okay, so
Reasons to be
yesterday I got my wedding ring.
Okay.
Literally that morning we were talking about that's the last thing that we need is the
Uh-huh.
wedding ring to come in.
And like like a priest or whatever.
Well, no, we already have my sister ordained. She's already good to go. But
Giselle.
yeah,
Nice.
so it's just the last thing where
That's cool.
we were waiting for the wedding ring.
That's gonna
And
be tight.
sure enough, I checked the mail today or yesterday, and it was there, and I got it. And
Is
I
it a
was-
big bling blinger?
No, I'll actually show you.
Cool.
I'll show you it.
Yeah.
But I pulled it out and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool! Like, it looks better than I thought it would."
Right. Yeah.
Then I put it on,
Uh huh.
and
I don't
it
think you should
got
have done that.
very real. Like,
Oh, you put it on.
yeah, yeah,
They're not the same though, right? Like she gets one, you get one.
yeah, yeah. Ours are completely
Okay,
different.
gotcha.
But it was just like it was a feeling like when we were doing the mayor's license, it became a little bit more real. When
Right. Yeah.
you know we make a certain payment, it becomes a little bit more real. You know.
because money's real. We all know that.
Well, it's like just as things like.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps there. It's like
Yeah.
when you're renting a house or something. You're
Yeah.
like, oh man, I'm really about to like have a house.
Exactly.
Be
So
responsible with it. But now it's like I have a human being license.
a human
To be a
being
conjoined.
wedding, yeah. So it was just very real, and
Yeah.
it was one of those moments. It's like not that it was scary, but it was just like
It's a lot.
kind of scary.
Yeah.
Not scary, but
I mean, it's
scary.
I think in life, any kind of like big decision like that, especially one where as marriage, I think for a lot of people it comes down to like something that they're only going to do once. I mean, that
Hopefully.
is the idea.
Yeah, hopefully.
There's plenty of people that get married multiple times and then have like the same kind of ceremonies where they're just like almost spouting like it's like it's very hypocritical at that point because it's
Yeah.
like you're saying like, oh, I'm never gonna love anybody else ever again, and this is it forever, and it's like.
2 years later.
But yeah, that could be your second wedding
Yeah.
that you're saying that, and all your friends are like,
Remember the last one?
But yeah,
Hopefully.
I just think with a big decision like that, it's always going to get a little psychological because it probably should.
Yeah,
It's your body your mind's like reacting to like.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I have a coworker.
I wonder if we can hear these leaf blowers, by the way.
I don't know. See, Sarah had a point. They've been fucking doing this on 7 a.m.
Also, if they've been doing this since 7 a.m., how many fucking leaves are there? That's a lot of leaves. It's like 2 o'clock.
But okay, so I have a coworker that's also getting married, but he has the mindset of like, oh, we don't really care. We're just gonna go to like the courthouse, and I'm like,
oh, okay. Yeah.
In my head,
that still costs money, though, right?
Yeah, definitely not as much, but
yeah.
It's just like the mindset. Like, there's a small part of me that's like, yeah, you're full of shit. I don't believe you.
Like, you don't think he cares?
Yeah, because there's got to be some part of you that's got to be like, no, I care. Even if it's a little bit, like, I care. But
I think it sounds to me like he's just saying he doesn't care that it's like a big ceremony. Not that he doesn't care that he's getting married, because I feel like. But then again, there are those people that get married really just to please either the families or not the family. Holy shit.
These fucking...
Sounds like we're about to be murdered by Leatherface. But Leatherface like doesn't know which house we're at. So he's just like going up to this door. Wait a second. What's the address again? Fuck. And he's like, got to go up the stairs.
2733. God damn it. That'd be funny. It's the next one. Move it down.
Please don't murder. Good times. That is crazy loud though. Yeah, because he's right there.
Yeah.
Don't look now.
You ever seen Texas Chainsaw? The original Texas Chainsaw?
Like the original, like came out in the 90s or like the thousands or like the old.
The original.
There was like a remake.
There's been, I think, at this point,
I don't know who the name is attached to it.
2 or 3 different like.
Because I tried watching one when I was a lot younger, and I think the disc didn't work at a certain point. So like it got to a point where they like pick up a girl, she's in the backseat, and then she like shoots her own head.
Oh, that's the first remake with Jessica. Is it Jessica Biel?
I don't know. But I tried watching that movie, and then I think like the disc didn't work or something like at a point, and I couldn't get past that scene.
Yeah.
But I was
like literally like the beginning of that movie.
Up to that point, it was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I was interested. I was invested. I didn't get to see any chainsaw murders, but a lot of Texas. So.
A lot of Texas. Have you been to Texas? Yeah,
I've been to Texas. Once. I don't know if it's like the Central Texas experience, but I went to San Antonio for a work party back a couple years ago when we first launched one of our big projects, which I will leave nameless. Just because companies are crazy. But yes, Texas was cool. It was a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be. But I also, like I said, I don't think it was like the quintessential Texas experience. Like
it's a little different.
I was at a hotel in San Antonio. I just drank a lot, and we walked past the Alamo. And then me and Chris shipped and went to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, which is in multiple states.
It's one in San Francisco.
Believe it or not. Yeah, I went to the one in San Francisco before too.
Nice.
I'm a fucking seasoned Ripley Believe It or Notter.
Do you believe it?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time, like I don't think Ripley's Believe It or Not is so much as like.
Isn't it like more like?
It's like freakish shit and like world records ish.
Yeah,
almost,
yeah.
That's
what I was thinking.
Oh, Ripley found a ghost in his toilet. Believe it or not, and you're like.
Not
yeah, no. But then it's like this guy had like fingernails as long as his body because he couldn't afford clippers. Believe it or not, and I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like clippers are like
he's like
75 cents at Walgreens, but
it's like middle of nowhere, like underdeveloped country, and
exactly.
You're like,
and you're like,
I believe that.
Fucking has not made it there yet.
Yeah, and then sure enough, I'm pretty sure that like I saw that once, and then like he had like he put like bags over his fingers.
He has to, yeah,
because like they're just so long.
It's so unrealistic. I had a bus driver when I was first went into high school. Oh man, I wish I had her name because it was something very stereotypical. But she had like super super long fingernails, and then they would like go over the steering wheel as she was driving, and she would like tap them, and you could hear it very very clearly. I'm talking like at least 6 inches on these nails, like to the point that they started to curve.
Yeah, that's
ugh. I just don't even like. How do you get that far? What's the benefit to it? Like, why are you keeping them that long? Like, does your boyfriend like really weird back scratches, where you do it from like a good distance that he can't like see it coming?
They even at an angle.
Babe, I didn't even see you. Yeah, it's because I'm in the kitchen. But it's like long enough to like. Some fucking weird shit. Don't do it, Winona.
Yep, do it anyways.
Yeah, I just never understood that. Because I'm pretty sure she was doing it for like maybe it was like a trend for a little bit to have like stupid long fingernails and then being
Just
like.
kept with it.
Yeah. I feel like her name was Candy or something. She was black. It's not important, but I think it is. Not that all black people have long nails. I just mean like.
You know what gets me?
She would snap, when she's talk. You know the image I'm putting out there?
Yeah. What gets me is really business casual people, like really just like normal looking people. Then they have the really long pinky nail.
Oh, because they do cocaine?
Yeah, because they do coke.
Yeah.
So like at my work especially, like we have a lot of parents that come in or just like, business types that are like, oh, I'm looking for something for my daughter. And then sure enough, they get the little coke nail, or as someone referred to it as a little bitch nail.
What? Why is it a little
bitch nail? I don't know, because it's your pinky. It's a little bitch nail. But
I'm sure that was like a cocaine reference to something like cocaine people say.
You got the bitch on you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I've been around people.
Storing anything in your bitch?
Yeah, I don't think I've been around enough people that do cocaine to know.
Yeah. For me, it's always very selective. It's like, other than like one experience I can think of, but every other experience when my friends have done cocaine, they're like, go to the bathroom, be in there like a little too long, and then come out and then be like, I just did cocaine. I'm like, oh, okay.
Hey, that's what's
like,
up, man.
Isn't cocaine like subtle enough that you can just do it in front of me? Like,
no, because that's
son
terrible.
of a bitch alarm. I knew that was
That's
gonna
terrible when people actually do cocaine
just
in front
like
of
right
you.
in front of you.
Yeah,
in
like
public.
casually.
Yeah.
That's actually like a
it
bit that
kinda-
I was working on for like ever. Is like people casually doing cocaine.
I feel like they just don't do it casually. Cocaine is.
No, they
I
do
don't think it's a
because-
casual drug in the first place, but
No, it is though. Like,
is it?
yeah, because the times that
Casual
I've been,
to me like says relaxing, in a sense.
I think casual. I guess my interpretation of casual is like people don't care that they're doing it or that that they're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess so.
And like the experience that I had was like someone, like we were just hanging out and then all of a sudden it was like it was like mid conversation and I was just like this took a real weird turn.
Yeah.
And then it was just kept going on like throughout the night. It was just like, yeah, it's like, yeah, man, and then blah blah blah, like, and then blah, 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 and it's just like, please stop. Like,
Yeah, okay, I get exactly what you're saying actually
Yeah.
when I think about it.
so it was in that experience that I was just like, you know what, cocaine's not for me.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
I would be so bad on cocaine just because, like, I can't shut up already. And,
Exactly.
like, the amount of thoughts that just pop into my head that I'm like, I need to say this right now already. And then, like, to my understanding of cocaine, it's pretty much like that. But, like, everyone who's on it just wants to keep talking and getting their point out. And it's like, I already do. And I'm just, like, I'm very obsessive with things. You look like you were staring at a ghost for a second.
No. I'm just
try to avoid. Like,
I'm just yeah.
I don't need anything else in my life that I can already, like,
I
compulsively
already like
rely
beer
on
too
for-
much.
Yeah, exactly.
To add another substance on there.
I've actually been thinking about like cutting out weed soon, not in like a it's bad for me. I mean, smoking's bad for you, but I just mean like I think in a lot of senses, or what did Jordan Peele said on a podcast I was listening to? He was saying like weed is really good for the creative, but a lot less for the execution of the creative stuff.
Yeah.
So it kind of like you'll get a lot of good ideas maybe, but you're never gonna like put them into action or like. And I kind of been feeling like that a lot lately. That like. I have a lot more thoughts than I like put into play. So
Yeah.
trying to like flip that script a little bit.
So I was literally just thinking about this today because I want to film another video, but I don't have like a concrete. I mean, I have a few, but it's a little bit more intricate than that. But usually I have a couple beers. Start getting like the juices flowing. But like today I was like sitting on the couch like thinking about what I was trying to do, but I wasn't drinking. But like literally like right before you showed up, I was thinking to myself, I should have had like a beer to just kind of
like loosen,
put myself in that mindset,
right?
Because I think not that I'm better when I'm drunk or funnier when I'm drunk, but I'm just a lot more loose and relaxed. And
it's about inhibitions. It's pretty much all it comes down to. When there's like a lot of things that are just like they're all like sleeping, and then you really just like either you're waking it up with the beer, or you think the beer is what wakes it up, and then it'll come out. But That's why there's actually this really interesting thing with, like, where power naps came from.
Yeah.
Maybe not where they came from exactly, but there's a couple people like Salvador Dali and Einstein, and then like one other name that I can't think of that's pretty household. But what they would do is they would kind of like, they would get themselves like to the verge of just falling asleep, and then they would like have some kind of mechanism in play to wake themselves up. So I think Dali would he'd have like a plate underneath him, and then he'd have like a coin in his hand, and then when he fell asleep, he'd drop the coin on the plate, and it would wake him up like right away. So he got like, like when you're like trying to go to sleep, and you're like in that kind of
deep,
mindset.
like when you go into that deep sleep, that's when it'll wake
so
them
like,
up.
Yeah. So like when you're in that moment, that's where people are kind of like their most creative, and that's because they have no inhibitions. Like their mind is just shooting off.
Yeah.
And so that's where those guys use that to like help them.
Yeah.
Like think and come up with new shit.
I've definitely.
I don't think that's really as practical today, but
I've definitely written some good stuff right before I slept.
Yeah,
I've written an entire like action plan for work right before I fell asleep.
Yeah, I think like for me, whenever I try to like go to sleep, I'll spend like a good hour just like my mind's just like going, and then I'll come up with like 4 jokes in that time alone. I'm just like, fuck, I'm trying to sleep, not write anything out here. It's really dumb, but it's really interesting in that regard to think that people like actually were smart enough to use that. I don't know. It feels very like Ruth Goldberg machine kind of shit.
Ruth Goldberg?
It's like, isn't that like the machines where it's like guy drops a ball on this and then it rolls down and hits some dominoes and then the dominoes go and then.
Oh, I have no idea what that's actually
I don't know. That's what it's called. I'm pretty sure. Now
you
know. Either that or you don't. If I'm wrong, nobody correct me. Not even. No, she's sleeping.
Yeah,
Don't
it's probably
best. Shh. Don't move a fucking inch. Dear God. Anyway, wedding should be cool.
Yeah.
He's not scared. That's what you're trying to get at, right?
It's the culmination of that entire conversation. I'm not scared to get married.
Yeah. What did you guys? What's your big plan after getting married? You guys gonna get a nice house, and then I assume that's like. Where do you go?
Honestly, I spent like the last year and a half of my life planning this wedding.
That's true.
So I'm gonna take a the relaxer on planning things and just live some of that life.
I'll just there's always a next step, right?
Yeah, I think the house is the next logical step, or moving out or moving elsewhere is the next step. So yeah, it's one or the other. It's just a matter of what opportunity kind of presents itself.
I'd probably end up doing the same thing, honestly. After like getting married, you just want to chill. But then people are like, "Is this what we did before we got married? Aren't we supposed to be like different now?" And it's like, nah. We get one more exemption on our taxes, and that's it. We did it.
I'm ready for that. That tax write-off, son.
Is that like actually substantial? Like I've never really thought about it.
I feel like people talk about it in the way that like it is, but also at the same. I think it's more when you have like a kid.
I think in military it's very big.
Oh, military is a whole nother monster.
Like in military,
I've seen people get married because of like not getting deported, getting deployed and stuff like that.
They just want to have something to pass that money on to. But I think they also make more money if they're married.
Yeah, no,
like
definitely.
As a couple.
But even more so if they're getting deployed, especially if they're getting deployed to a hazard zone.
Yeah.
I actually have a friend that like they were planning to get married, and then she was going to get deployed into a hazard zone, and they sped that shit up real quick.
Yeah.
But I mean they were a solid couple before, and it wasn't even like it's for the money type thing,
Yeah, I mean, I
like no, it definitely was for the money, but it's because they're smart.
I want this woman to be able to say that she was widowed and never forget it.
That's
sorry,
terrible.
it's fucked up, but
that's terrible. That's great, but that's terrible.
Yeah. Did you ever think about going into the military or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Actually, yeah. In senior year or junior year, I was with this girl, and her brother was in the military, and at this time it was like serious as serious as high school relationships could be. And I got this idea. I was like, well, how can I like take care of this person and myself for a substantial amount of time? And la-di-da, what does the military do for the most part? Take care of you for a substantial amount of time and your spouse. So I was like, I'll join the army. And I did a lot of research into the job I wanted to do. It was a scout in the army. infantry scout.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically like
Go collect intel.
yeah. And I got as far as I don't think it was like commitment papers because I feel like they would have done that. But I went to see a recruiter, did all that stuff, and then signed up for the ASVAB. You know what the ASVAB is?
Yeah, it's like a test.
Yeah, it's like your test to see like how eligible you are and stuff. And I actually scored really high to where I could get that job. And I was like good to go. And after all that stuff, we broke up because she was like, well, I didn't want you to do that. Like, like,
damn.
Like, like we're just like, oh, I was doing this for us. And it's like, well, no, you're doing it for you. Like, you thought this and you didn't talk about it. And I was like, and at that point I was like,
now
so then that all fell through.
Talk to these bitches.
Yeah. So communication is key. Is what I learned. So that all fell through, but I don't think I stayed in contact.
Go forward with it after that.
Yeah. And I think they kept calling me.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all.
After the fact. And it was until I told them that I had just gotten my hands tattooed. That they were like, oh, okay. We'll keep you in mind. And I never got a call after that.
You're like, what? But I tattooed Army Strong.
Yeah. So that was the end. That was the end of that.
Wait,
and
so
then,
like military has an issue with tattoos?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
They used to be really lenient to where you just could have like the sleeve,
right? Because that's
but
like business. You can be business savvy still. If
you can wear your suit and stuff like that and not have any tattoos shown. But now I think it's even stricter to where unless you enlisted after like the certain year, you can only have like t-shirt, like tattoos.
It's pretty dumb when you think about it.
Yeah,
because like what benefit is it to like the Army for something that's made for like I guess defense somewhat? It shouldn't be so focused on appearance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think like people are out there dying, and you can't even like give them the right of like you can't have a tattoo below your bicep. Like,
yeah, which most people do by
certain. It's the easiest. Yeah. It's like the easiest place. It's like your first tattoo area.
Yeah,
like
I think for most people.
Yeah, it's the easiest one to do, and they're like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah. It's like, you can't do that. You can't be gay. It's like, but we're just trying to like fight back.
I'm trying to defend.
And if there was a fucking draft, you'd take us anyway, fuckhead.
Yeah, I think like that's like the real like standard. And then as I grew up, I kind of like realized how much I wasn't that like culture and that mindset of people that join the Army.
Yeah, it just seems so like robotic to me whenever I like see people like that. They all end up pretty much being the same by the end.
Yeah, more or less.
You have like a friend and they're not in the Army, and then they get in the Army, and then they're like, oh, now you're like every other Army dude. Congrats.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Talk to me about your unit for fucking 25 minutes? That sounds real interesting.
It's a certain mindset that I just wasn't about. And then I think I have like a problem with like authority a little bit.
Yeah, I think I do too. As much as I try to avoid it, I'm just not down. Like if some dude's just yelling at you in camp, I'm just like, bro, there's like so many more constructive ways we could be doing this.
Your guys' management tactics are all over the fucking place.
And granted, like, I know fucking dick all about the Army. Like, I think my conception of all that really comes from movies and television. Yeah. But, like, those have to be based somewhere. And I really mean no disrespect. I just, like...
Yeah, I'm just
not for me.
Yeah, I'm just not down for getting yelled at. Some people
I know a lot of people in the Army, you know, they're just...
My cousin is actually... And she just joined the Army. He actually just went to basic. So, like... I don't have, like... If you're in it, dope, but it's not me. Do you ever think about joining up?
Pretty much never. I think it's because in high school, we had ROTC, which was, like, kind of, like, already...
Kind of whack.
Like, kind of swaying people into that mindset of Army, and then those people...
Do you want another? I'm getting up to grab one.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
It doesn't matter what it is. Like, those people they kind of already gave off that vibe to me, and I was like, man, you're fucking... Like, you're so arrogant. Like, I get it. You're in fucking high school Army. You spin guns. Congrats. Like, it's really not a negative on any of that. And one of my really close friends, granted, I haven't talked to him in like 4 years. He was in all that stuff, and he's a good dude. Didn't lose his sense of humor over it all. Luckily. Just got to be able to joke people, whether it's your life or someone else's. Dang, what are these? I feel like I tried these last week, but
Stone IP or Stone Ripper. Ripper? Yeah, Ripper.
sounds like a beer.
It's definitely a beer. It's a Stone beer, brother.
Stone was always kind of like a strange name for a beer, I felt.
Stone IPA.
It sounds like drugs.
What do you think is the worst beer name that you can think of?
I feel like whatever I say, it's going to be ill-informed. Like, I don't know what a Lagunitas is. Maybe you do. Sounds Spanishy.
It's a very racist remark of you.
What?
I was just about to say, I was like, yeah, me either. Then you started going with that, and I was like,
I don't know what a Leinenkugel is. I don't know what.
I think Leinenkugel is their name.
Like
their
like
last name? Their last name? Yeah, I think it's like John Leinenkugel.
See, that's the reason why you don't answer this question, because then you could be potentially saying someone's last name sucks.
I mean Leinenkugel is a fucking
is crazy weird
name
to people. So Leinenkugel. It's got to be like it sounds almost Irish, but not like Scottish.
I think it's like German.
Yeah, German's a good one.
Leinenkugel. Yeah.
Kugel. Got to get the Kugel. We almost fresh out of Kugelstrudel.
Kugelstrudel.
Man, your dog is so nice when she's like not sentient.
All the other time she's a fucking asshole.
Little does she know.
Yeah.
We should start the world's first podcast for dogs.
We're talking about the first like middle school kid with a podcast. That'd be tight too.
Bro, what is it? There's like this they're elementary
Did you
school
look
kids.
it up?
And no, this is something else. I saw this on the Joel McHale show with Joel McHale.
Shout out Joel McHale.
I love that show. Shout out to Joel McHale. Love those sweaters. Anyway, yeah, there's this show where it's these two elementary school kids. They interview rappers.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that worth watching or not really?
I don't know. The one clip on the Joel McHale show with Joel McHale, sponsored by Netflix, but dumb. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
The little kid was ripping into Big Shaq or Lil Shaq or whatever that rapper's name is. The man's not hot, dude.
Oh. He's a comedian.
He's a rapper, too.
Yeah. Well, I think
we talked about this before.
Yeah, probably.
But, Lil Shaq. Is it Lil Shaq or Big Shaq?
I think it's
Big Shaq.
Big Shaq. No, it's not Shaq. It's probably Big Shaq.
You think about it, too. Like Big Shaq just means big. Lil Shaq means Lil Big.
Is that what Shaq means?
No, but Shaq's fucking huge.
Oh, you're talking about Shaq. Okay, I was like...
Shaq-Eel? I guess his name could also just be Shaquille.
O'Neal.
But what's the fun in that, you know?
If you were a rapper, what would your rapper name be?
Fuck, that's a good... Well, it sounds like you already have one in mind.
No, well, I have before, but I figured I'd ask you, and then I'm going to try to come up with a new
I
one.
figured you would inspire me with your choices.
Okay, so I'll give you my old one. So this was like early 2000s. I was probably 18 when I thought of this. This was, I think, before swag, or swag was a new thing, but steez was also a word that we were using, like swag.
Don't joke my steez.
Yeah. MC Steez flow.
Does it mean your flow is stinky, right?
No, it's like swag. It's like fucking, like, you got a cool flow.
You got
but I was like MC before everything. Even before MC. Well, not before but before I knew about MC Chris. MC was always like a dope thing to me.
Yeah. I think MC, I don't know. Like, I think rapper names have like kind of taken like a weird trend where it's always like Lil or like everything's Lil now.
It's Lil something.
Maybe mine would be Lil Long Legs.
Lil Long Legs.
Or Long Lil Legs. That'd be funny. Just because the Lil Long kind of sounds funny, like it's almost contradicting one another.
Lil Short.
Is that a real rapper?
No,
I assume.
No, like I just made that up. That'd be my rapper name.
It's not a bad one either. If you had to go with the Lil, like I kind of like, I don't prefer the Lil.
No, not at all. Like, but if I was going with the Lil, and then they'd be like, "Why?" Have you ever put
your name in the Wu-Tang name?
Yeah,
generator?
It was something stupid.
No, mine was something dumb. It was very businessy.
Yeah, it was like
it was nothing near as cool as Childish Gambino.
Yeah, I think like every other website, like someone else created numerous websites.
Oh, after that moment.
Yeah, where they were like, "Oh, he came from a Wu-Tang," and then like now every time you put in Donald Glover, it's like the one consistent one.
Right. Okay.
You know?
I get you.
As compared, you go to different Wu-Tang Clan like name generators, you get different answers all the time. But there's only one consistent one.
Only one Childish Gambino.
I wonder if you put Method Man's real name into a
I feel like
Wu-Tang,
that would have to at least be another consistent to that situation.
maybe.
Because like
Yeah,
This
but
well,
there's-
okay, yeah, it's not like they put their names into a Wu-Tang
Yeah,
Clan
that's
generator
that's
because
what
they
I'm
are
saying.
the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
It's not the order of operations I was looking for.
I wonder what Method Man's real name is.
John.
You think it's like an M? You think it starts with an M because Method Man MM?
He could be an Eminem if he was.
RZA, you think it starts with an R?
I think Riz is just.
RZA.
Maybe.
You know, it's crazy. RZA just goes by RZA now. 3
Yeah.
letters.
even
capital.
even in his movie career.
Yeah. Directed,
Which
written,
is
and
like
directed by.
The Rock. They still. Oh, did they call it The Rock?
No,
The
Dwayne.
Rock?
I think
They call him
sometimes he
Dwayne
goes
Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, and sometimes it's. I think as of like
Because The Rock
when he
was
started
his wrestling
blowing up,
persona.
he's Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I could be wrong about that, but I know when
I wouldn't
he
be
started
surprised for, like,
acting,
advertising.
it was Dwayne Johnson. Then it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Eventually, he bought into the fact because I think he went back to wrestling after his movie career was already taking off, and it's
did he?
like, I do both of these, and everyone's like, sick. We love it.
Because then you could keep up the persona to the wrestling fans that
Mm-hmm.
actually still believe in wrestling that The Rock himself is acting. Right? If you think about it. Not that I really think that there really are wrestling fans these days that do believe.
I think if that's the case, you're not
I'm pretty sure you're
promoting to
in
the
on the
right.
loop.
Yeah, you're not going for the right reason.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the hit movie Rampage for the right reason.
Did you ever go see Rampage?
No.
I kind of was bummed I missed it. I heard actually some pretty good things.
Really?
I just heard like, when a movie like that comes out where it's like obviously like giant animals fighting in a city, that's just like a movie you turn your fucking brain off and watch.
Yeah.
Because people will be walking out of that fucking movie being like, well, the storyline wasn't as good as Dunkirk, but and it's like, no fucking shit, genius. You're not a movie critic for pointing this out. This is not a Dunkirk movie. It's not Rampage directed by Christopher Nolan. You dumbass. I think when people go into movies, they go in with their expectation of like, it's like people think every movie is trying to win an Emmy. I really don't understand it sometimes. So people are like, oh, Rampage was dumb. It's just a bunch of animals fighting. I'm like, yeah. Did you not see the fucking trailer? Like, how did you not know what you were signing up for here? Also, the movie's based on a video game, which had giant animals fighting in a town. Fucking idiot. God, people are dumb. I really wonder if the Rampage movie accommodated at all for the fact, because like in the Rampage games, like there were mutated people that turned into giant animals. That's why they were named Lizzie and Ralph and shit. The game, yeah. I don't think the movie. It's like they're mutated animals, which makes a lot more sense. But it was the 80s or something. So when that game came out,
I didn't even slightly remember that.
what, the Rampage games?
Yeah.
Yeah, every time you die, you like shrink down into a human. The more you know, the better. Put your hats on and look at the weather. That's not how that song goes. Tomorrow. You've actually seen that movie?
Annie?
Yes, Annie.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But yet we all know the song.
Yeah, 100%.
You think that's because like our parents would sing it when we were being crybabies or something? I don't know. Like, or it's referenced enough, I guess, in pop culture, or as like the end of a joke. Maybe.
I blame.
Tomorrow.
I'm trying to think of like where I was like, oh no, it's a Jay-Z song, but I'm like, that's a hard knock life.
Yeah, you're right though. Like songs definitely could use it as a sample, and then that's like why you get it in the loop.
So you know what my favorite thing to do as of recently is, well, I guess I've always done this since I liked hardcore music. Normal songs that would be dope as a hardcore song,
Like a metal cover.
yeah. And recently, my big one is Sierra 1-2 Step. I'm
I've
pretty
heard
sure I've told you about this.
feel like I've heard a cover of that already.
No,
No?
it's not because
What, are you
I
gonna
look
produce
it.
that
I
shit?
look it up all the time, and it'd be so sick just because. Yeah, no, like it's so good. Like, and then there's is it Big Pimpin' by Jay-Z? Big Pimpin', spending Jay-Z.
Never heard it.
What?
Never listened to a lot of Jay-Z,
Did
honestly.
you listen to the Jay-Z and Linkin Park like
Yeah,
collab album?
yeah.
So, yeah, it was one of those fucking.
Oh, was
songs.
it? Okay. Okay.
But
I mean, that was a long
yeah,
ass
I think
time
that's
ago, but-
another one that would be like really dope.
How crazy is that? Like bands don't even do that anymore, where they do like a collab album in the same way that Linkin Park did with Jay-Z.
Oh yeah, well,
Because
what's weird about that was
it's like a blend of.
I mean, it
genres,
was just
so-
all older songs, you
Mhm.
know. Did they re-record it or did they
I
just
doubt
mix
it.
it? They just mixed it
I
together.
imagine they
right?
just gave Jay-Z the files and they were like, "Yo, produce on top of this
Mhm.
shit, make it a little crazy, make the names like
I just don't think
missing vowels."
rockin' or even metal, whatever you want to consider.
They're,
Linkin Park,
they're not always like in cahoots.
like I don't think any rap song. Well, I don't want to say that, but I don't think most rappers can collaborate with what like mainstream rock is right now.
Mm-hmm. I think about this though, like punk goes pop, right?
Mhm.
All that shit. Those guys had to get the rights to cover those songs, right?
Mhm.
I would assume.
Yeah.
So if I was an artist and somebody was like, "Hey, we want to cover your song for this metal album,"
Yeah.
I'd be like, "I'm gonna check that shit out when it's ready," because
Yes.
to hear like a song I wrote be reinvented as like a different genre, like that's got to be super weird. And whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
who gives a shit? I
But-
just think it'd be interesting, like if you wrote a song,
Yeah.
somebody covers it and like completely reinvents it, and you're like, "Wow."
I think when you're really
Whether it's good or bad.
submersive in like that, like a particular genre of music that you make, I don't think when someone tries to take that outside of the genre into a different one, you're kind of like,
You're not stoked on it, right?
Yeah,
You're almost
it's
like,
'cause-
well, it was
yeah.
never meant to be that way.
yeah.
I didn't
If
write it
you're a
that way."
rapper, you're not necessarily, unless you're a fan of that genre.
Mhm.
You know, just like if you were a rapper, you'd be hyped on it because you like hardcore music,
Right?
You know,
okay.
but
I get what you're
like
saying.
unless like I couldn't imagine Lil Uzi being into fucking
Attack.
yeah. Or if he is, that'd be the dopest thing ever.
Yeah.
I would love Lil Uzi even more than I do already. But I just don't think that's
Never
Lil
listened to
Uzi.
Lil Uzi either.
Lil Uzi is literally the only like
Only little rapper you like?
New, yeah,
I
little
only like
rapper that I like.
full-size rappers other than Lil Uzi.
Yeah, Lil Uzi's dope, and I've seen him perform live. I don't remember much of it, but it was tight.
Surprised.
Yeah, this is when I was drunk in Colorado.
Man, dude, that's been such an upsetting thing that I've been doing lately, and I'm actually going to a concert this Saturday, so we'll see how it goes. But this Saturday I'm going to go see Logic
Hmm.
for the second time. But
I don't think that's a turn-up type of concert, though. It can be.
whether it's
but I
a
don't
turn-up
think it is.
concert or not, I will be drinking. You know, like that's my
Yeah.
thought.
But
So
I-
like I
but
think
I
of
don't
some of
think
the
it's
best
a-
concerts
yeah.
I've been to lately, and whether I remember it all or not, I'm like,
It's great.
yeah, I was fucking way too drunk at that
Yeah.
show.
It was my 21st birthday. Devil Wears Prada. I don't remember anything about
Dang.
that show other than getting my wristband, not being 21, and then putting my finger in someone's drink, and that's it. I don't remember anything else about that show, but that show was hyped. Same with
Yeah.
Chance the Rapper, other than
Chance the Rapper, yeah. Both times we went.
him talking about why he's not going to play Juice,
Oh yeah.
and then the
Forgot
Waka
about
Flocka mosh pit. Like, I
What?
don't remember too much from that show.
Well, granted, the Waka Flocka mosh pit was right when we got there.
Yeah, but
So-
like, yeah, I mean, I don't remember.
Chance not playing Juice. Chance, please play Juice. Okay.
Does he play Juice now or
No.
no? Does
I
he
mean,
play any acid rap?
I don't know. Last time I saw him, it was the Coloring Book World Tour, so he was
Did
playing
he-
Coloring Book. Obvi.
He played all the way through, or
Kind of, but like I think with rap shows, what I noticed is because rappers do so many features,
you do half.
they kind
He
of
did,
end up
like,
doing
half
like a
of his,
lot of
yeah.
like their feature tracks, which I actually think is really cool. Because I think like,
like
have you ever seen Gambino live?
yeah,
Okay, so what Gambino does, right? Whether it's his features or not, he goes into his old tracks and he makes a fucking medley of all the old tracks. So like all the
the
shit
old
from
ones, yeah,
Cul-de-sac, all
okay.
the shit from EP.
yeah.
Like that's all fucking bundled into one song, and that shit is fucking awesome.
But he didn't do any of his like feet. Well, Gambino's not on that many.
Gambino, not so
Yeah.
much. I'm talking. That was just
Yeah,
another
yeah,
example.
yeah.
I kind of
No. That was good. Yeah.
when I
'cause
saw
we
Chance,
him
he
at,
played.
because the internet concert, the tour, right at the Cosmo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was a good one. See, I don't remember shit about that. Other than there was.
Were you at that show?
Yeah, it was me and my brother. We went with you. Or
who was that with? Shabo.
Probably.
Alexis was there.
Sure. So no, I don't think I was hanging out. But you guys were there. But I just remember there was a couch.
Was this the one on the pool or the one in the Chelsea?
Chelsea.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of too. Then.
Yeah, they had the couch on stage and there was just dudes hanging out, and I was like, I
do remember that when
because
the DJ was playing and shit.
If you read the script that goes with Because of the Internet, it has that sort of vibe where it's just like it's him doing his thing, and it's like people don't give a shit about.
Yeah, I
what
didn't
he's
read
doing.
all that script, but
it's good.
I'm sure it's cool. Yeah,
super good.
There's some videos that go with it too.
If you want to borrow it, I got it. But I just remember that and like thinking like, oh, that's so weird that his crew's just hanging out. But then at the same time, I was like,
yeah, if you had,
I think
like
that's
that.
part of his gimmick. Like I think that's part of the show. You know, that they were just like, yeah, dude, just hang out on stage. You know.
But I also think if I was like that famous. And I had
like
my homies there, I'd be like, just go sit on the stage,
just go
on the couch. I think that'd be so fucking funny.
Yeah.
I would do that. You record a podcast on that stage while everyone's just looking at you, but they can't hear you.
I've been trying to think of different ways, like the first podcast ever recorded like this, like the being buried under sand.
Oh right.
That one I think would be super funny, especially just like the attached video.
Right.
Would be fucking hilarious.
It would be interesting. Uncomfortable after a while. I assume you'd get really.
I would only do 30 minutes for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
that would be like the morning of my wedding. So
yeah.
I'd keep that shit short. We can only drink.
Shove
for so
some
long.
Rove mics into the dirt because they're like.
No, well, we have your one Yeti. Like, put that bitch omnidirectional. Boom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be great. It's just the fact that we did it.
That's funny. Yeah, the other podcast idea that would be interesting, like in terms of like something different, is you have like not handheld mics, but the mics you like clip on your
the lapel,
and then you're just like doing stuff. Like whether it's like you're not just see the issue I think with this idea is that you're less focused on the conversation maybe, but like this would be like a podcast that's like on the move.
Yeah.
Like, we're now at Walmart and we're still having this conversation. It's like, why? I don't know. I feel like Rogan already did that too.
Did he?
He recorded a podcast with Ari Shafir while they were hiking.
Oh.
So.
Shit.
All the mics were in the backpack. You know, it's so weird. What a world. What a world. Resonate with the sound of the ocean. So I've been thinking about a lot of like, I don't know, like how often do you think on like your own like negatives, I guess? Like do you like self-reflect on your own like hang-ups a lot?
My job is focused around positives and opportunities.
Okay.
So I constantly think about my positives and opportunities.
So wait, sorry, I didn't mean to out your work, but you guys have like a you can mute it. You guys have like a list of like things that identify what makes an employee.
No, not well.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. There's stuff that we look for in someone that we.
But it's
want
like a
to
cliche like collection of phrases.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's like
we have that in my job
like,
too.
It's like normal stuff, but it's just like it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
But in all your training that you do, you want to follow up with positives and opportunities. So it's like, say if I was teaching you how to sell, and you do really good at suggesting items, but you're terrible at just creating normal conversation with somebody. Your positive is that you know how to sell. You're a natural seller. Your opportunity, not a negative, but an opportunity, is that you can't create an organic conversation to make the customer more comfortable with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
interesting wording, but I get what you're saying.
but
it's a better way to say it.
I'm speaking in the terms.
No, yeah, I think that's a better way to put it than to be like, this is where you suck.
Yeah, and that's literally what it is. Is like everything is an opportunity. There's always opportunities in what we do, but in turn, like I self-reflect on what I do because through training someone, you see your opportunities and positives through them. So.
Interesting way of looking at it, actually.
Yeah, and then like I do that with my relationship. I do that in life and in certain experiences where I'm like something will happen. And I'm like, okay, well, this happened. It sucked. what were my positives
Yeah.
throughout this entire experience? Was like, well, I was very level-headed. What was my opportunity? Well, I was so level-headed that I just did not care about anything. So then, like, okay, cool. Now we know where we went wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So
I actually like that.
yeah, it's a good way of like self-reflecting and really like taking a step back and looking at yourself. But once you're, I think like being a manager, like makes you a different person. Not even like,
Yeah. I mean, being a manager, you kind of like,
boss.
you don't really have as much to like fall back on in terms of like somebody validating your own thought. I feel like, because you're the manager.
Yeah.
Like your thought is the thought.
Yeah, and then people are just like, okay, cool, we'll do that. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, dude, is that a good idea? Is that not a good idea? And
Yeah.
they're just like, no, dude, whatever you want to do. And it's like,
Yeah, I hate that, but I
oh
also,
my God, like, okay, fine, we'll do this. And then it's like, it works. It usually works out. Not to toot my own horn, but it usually works out.
not to toot my own horn, but
Yeah.
toot toot.
Yeah, like it's, I don't know. As much as like you ask people for their feedback, like most people are just like, no, dude, like, yeah, well, like, yeah, it's fine.
I just feel like people these days are, but in a workplace environment, it's different. But people in general these days, I feel like just have a bad time giving feedback because like people don't want to be responsible for, like, suppose like you did have to make a decision, and somebody doesn't like it, but somebody else agreed, then that guy will think he's partially responsible for the reason why something went down wrong. I think the best way I can usually like word it out is when it comes to making plans. Nobody wants to say what they want to do.
Yeah.
Because if they say what they want to do and then people end up doing that and then it doesn't end up being fun, then
it's their responsibility.
they get blamed for it. They're like, oh, you were the one that wanted to go to McDonald's.
No one wants to go to McDonald's.
And nobody wants to go to McDonald's, which they should have known and probably didn't speak up in that moment to say.
You know what I want to do? I want to do
the issue.
karaoke. I haven't
Just
gone
in
to
general?
Yeah.
You go to karaoke.
Like a group, like obviously I think karaoke is so much more fun in a group, but
oh yeah. Like, do you prefer private room karaoke or do you prefer like I'm in the public, I'm gonna yell at some strangers?
I think
karaoke?
that's a little bit better, especially because like not everyone is like the social butterfly as like you and I are, where we can like literally stand up in front of a group of people and be like, yeah, what the fuck is up? I'm gonna sing fucking
I know you like
Roses,
to sing your shit
but some people are like, I don't know, and it's like, okay, cool, so we'll cater to you, we'll private room it, which I don't have a problem with. Like, I think it's funner that way because it lets people that aren't outwardly like social to be like, oh well, it's just my friends. We're gonna go do karaoke, and it's like, cool.
I just want some good company with some good times.
Exactly. So
location isn't important. We could be hanging out in a dumpster.
That's what everyone says, but then you're like, all right, cool. Let's just hang out at my house. And it's like, I kind of want to be.
But I kind of want a bar. I want to be at a bar. I want to listen to the sweet, sweet sounds of whatever the fuck's on the radio.
Some good old country music.
Yeehaw! I don't think that's.
I fucking hate country music.
I luckily don't go to bars that they play country music.
The only one I can think of is like Timbers.
Timbers, I don't know. A lot of time when I go to Timbers, they're just playing 90s jams. And I'm like, I can live with this. I'm a 90s kid. What's like the first song you ever remember hearing? I mean, there's no real way to answer that question. That just popped into my head and I was like, if you could quantify like what the first song you ever heard was. Do you remember the first album you ever bought?
Yeah, that one I do remember.
Because mine's embarrassing as fuck.
So I think it's a toss up between the two, only because I really don't remember.
Watch, it's gonna be something you still listen to today, whereas mine is like.
No.
Okay.
So the one that I think is almost is the first is Snoop Dogg's "Gangsta" and Rhyme, or "Rhythm and Gangsta," or something like that. It's the one with "Drop It Like It's Hot."
Okay.
So there's that one that I think is, it's that one, or it's Fran Ferdinand's first album, which is the "Take Me Out," you know.
Yeah.
Which
the only song I ever heard by him.
I love that album all the way through by Franz. Like, that's a good album.
Does that guy still make music today?
Franz, yeah.
Okay.
It's a whole band. But yeah, they still make music. I don't think they've
literally
ever.
That's just the only song I've ever.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever hit like that same level. But it's a good album. It's a good band all the way through. But
good sound.
Yeah. And as far as Snoop Dogg goes, I mean, Snoop Dogg is Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
You know.
My first album purchase was Metamorphosis by Hilary Duff.
Mm.
I was pretty young, obviously, but I don't know where we were. I think we were traveling or something. I was with my family, and I just saw it, and I was like, "Can I buy this?"
Because you liked Hillary Duff? Yeah.
I did, yeah. I had
You
a huge
did. I
crush on
remember
Hillary
like
Duff.
hearing, yeah.
And granted, like her music it's not too bad in terms of like back then, like
It's not the worst thing ever.
like poppy shit.
Yeah.
But like I was hanging out with some girls like a couple of weeks ago, and they were fucking obsessing over those songs, and so I put them on, and they knew every word, and I was like, okay, so this actually paid out,
Yeah.
in some form.
And you're like, I had to know these songs.
I too am so yesterday. Yeah, I just always think that's funny. Is that, and then I don't know if my brother will ever admit this, because I feel like it was him, and maybe not me, but we own like a physical copy of Britney Spears' I think it was her first album, like "Oops, I Did It Again" or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he always says that it was mine, and I always say it was his.
Yeah.
So,
But
it's
he's
still
older.
there at our house.
He's older than you,
We
right?
can test it for DNA.
Yeah. He's older than you, right?
Yeah.
By 1 year, 2 years?
It's either 1 or 2.
2.
I forget what year he was born. Phone call. God, don't you fucking hate it when you're recording a podcast and your camera gets a phone call? Just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. We'll get Kyle on here one of these days and be like,
So who about?
here's the burning question.
Who about the
bought
CD?
the Britney Spears CD? And then I'll pull it out. We have the DNA reports from Maury.
What's your guilty pleasure like TV? Like
Well, in terms of TV,
like shows or something that people are like, "Oh, this is so stupid. Why do you watch this?" Or like something that you normally don't watch, but you're just like, "I don't know why, but this is my shit."
yeah, like sometimes shit just connects with you. Like this is kind of when I was going back to the not Girl Meets World, Fuller House thing that was just popping up, because like our mutual friend Jack watches shows like that.
Yeah.
And he actually like really enjoys it.
I just think
The tone
TV.
of that kind of yeah, you're right. He really does. Like the tone of those shows, to me, I would see that as like, oh man, I don't want people to know I'm watching Girl Meets World because it's made for 12-year-old girls. But like then you have like that nostalgic connection to, oh, I watched Boy Meets World when I was a 12-year-old girl. So I don't know. Like I think with today, where we just have every option to choose what we want to watch ourselves.
Yeah.
It's harder to just like stumble onto something that you maybe don't like, or maybe you do like but you don't want people to know you like. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of something for me. I think for like I watched Once Upon a Time for like 3 seasons, and that show's pretty corny.
Oh, like the Disney?
Yeah, it's kind of like Disney princesses, but it's still like it's a drama. It's got its turns. It's got some good actors in there. So
Rumpelstiltskin.
I don't know. I almost feel like if I was gonna gravitate towards something, and also I just own shit. If I'm gonna watch something and like dislike it, I'm not the kind of person who's gonna like not like keep it as like a secret. What are you watching? I mean, you have a girlfriend too, so like you're more inclined to, you have a fiance. I apologize.
Yeah, but
upgrade it.
anytime like she watches the shit that she likes,
Gilmore Girls and
Jack
watches
she does
Gilmore
like
Girls
Gilmore
too.
Girls.
Being outed, Jack. Sorry.
Pretty Little Liars. She was big on.
What's that show about?
Fucking A.
What's Desperate Housewives?
No.
No?
Was it True Blood?
True Blood.
True
Those
Blood
are
is
pretty
like
corny.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
her shit, and like
Was it like-
I genuinely like can't get into it because there's just some things that are just so ridiculous that I'm like,
Yeah, campy is like one thing.
yeah, well it's like, I don't know, man. Yeah, it is what it is, but it's just like one of those things where she puts it on and I just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna sit on my phone for like an hour until she's like,
I'm tired.
yeah, she's like, okay, I
Of
guess I'm gonna go to
vampires.
sleep, and I'm like, all right, cool, like I'm gonna like watch literally anything else. But my guilty pleasure is The Big Bang Theory.
Really? Actually,
Yeah. Not that I enjoy it like to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch Big Bang Theory, and it's just like if it's on,
yeah.
and there's like literally nothing else on, like there's not even a movie that I've seen like a couple times, because I'll watch that bitch again. I have no problems watching movies over and over.
I've seen several seasons of Big Bang.
Yeah, well, I couldn't tell you seasons, but like I've seen a decent amount of episodes to the point to where it's like I used to hate it, but now it's
shit
just
like that grows on you.
Yeah,
Any
it's
kind of show, you just need to give it
on.
more
It's
time.
like, I know every joke that's gonna come up, and it's just like it's a predictable writing style. But
What about Little Sheldon?
Yeah, no, I've never seen
Young
that.
Sheldon,
I think
sorry.
Little Sheldon.
Little Sheldon.
But yeah, it's one of those like mindless TV shows that's made for people that are just trying to watch something on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever. And
the thing is with a lot of those shows too is they're made to be like almost and it's kind of interesting for Big Bang Theory because it's kind of like sciencey and like nerdy almost, but like the show is still very made to be almost universally like any audience could watch it and kind of find something about it that resonates. Yeah. And I think that's where a show like that really succeeds in terms of popularity because that show's fucking huge.
Yeah. It's they like overtaken Friends.
Yeah. And that was the other thing I was going to refer to back to because both of these refer back to one of my ex-girlfriends who pretty much only exclusively watched DVD seasons of shows in the age of Netflix. She'd pretty much only watch Friends. Like
Before
every
Friends was on Netflix?
Yeah.
Fair.
Just watch Friends DVDs. And so I've seen like pretty much every episode of Friends, I would assume at this point. And then after Friends was Big Bang Theory. So she falls asleep. I'm at her house.
And the
TV is still on. And I don't fucking sleep well. So
here I am
watching season after
6.
season of Big Bang Theory.
You're getting
and
up.
at some point I'm like, yeah, this is kind of getting funny. Or like, I hear a good joke here or there. And I'm like, oh, I can appreciate that. But it's like all I can. Yeah. It's all I can give it at a point because it's,
I never got into Friends, though. I can say that.
Friends, I think, has a very specific tone to it because it's kind of older.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think like a much more better modern version of Friends is to just watch How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, that's a really good thought.
Because Friends takes place in a coffee. It takes place either in a house or in a coffee shop. It's a lot more funner.
Ted is Ross.
Yeah, for sure.
And what's the other couple?
You could always quantify the characters in that sense. Like, Jennifer Aniston, Rachel is, I guess, Robin. Definitely Robin, actually. I'm thinking about it.
But, yeah, now that I think about it more, like, yeah,
they're
it's the exact
very similar,
it's the exact
but How I
same
Met
show.
Your Mother is just so much better.
It's an updated version of that.
And even then, it's not that modern. Like, How I Met Your Mother, I rewatched it this year at a point, and the fuck?
She almost fell so hard right now.
Like they don't even get smartphones until the end of the show. Yeah. In terms of like you watch them progress technologically.
You know what gets me? Okay, so one thing about Friends that I always like is like half joking, but it's like more half serious. Is there's no people of color on Friends, like in the main cast.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's no people of color, and I'm like, that's why I don't like Friends. There's no people of color.
But that's true.
But then
How I Met Your Mother too.
Yeah, but I like How I Met Your Mother.
I mean,
more.
How I Met Your Mother.
Thought
Wayne
about
Brady's
that.
on there.
But he's not a main character.
He's pretty recurring though.
He's not a main character.
Like once per season at least.
But that's my ultimate flaw. Is like I love Always Sunny, and there's no people of color in that.
Yeah, but like when your show is based around a main cast of like 4 to however many people, 7, or whatever, like.
You're telling me there's not one actor of color that's like they could do this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that you couldn't.
Yeah.
I just,
that's what gets me though.
I think a lot of people they're looking for a dynamic they had with their friends when they were younger. Mm-hmm. And they were younger in an age where black people couldn't go into a bar. I'm just kidding.
That's what but no, like that's literally what I think of is like, I'm like, oh, okay, so you think like, oh, these were my group of friends. So I'm like, you telling me you did not have.
What's like the most diverse cast of a show that you can think of, like in terms of like main I think Community probably.
Community's up there.
It's like
but even then,
dude,
that's like
white girl, black dude, black girl, old white dude.
Yeah.
Is that all of them? Oh, Abed. Whatever he is. Abed.
I couldn't think of more like ensemble like TV shows with people of color.
Any sitcom really? There's actually a lot of sitcoms today where they actually base it around.
They
that
have
idea. Yeah, that's true. They have like a
Raj,
yeah, something like that. It's true. And there's a girl on there.
Granted, he's like the stereotypical person of color.
Yeah,
that's another
he's
thing
like
too.
The stereotypical person of color that is like Middle Eastern. Mm-hmm. Like I think whenever there's a Middle Eastern character, they come off very stereotypical. But I also think maybe that's just how they are, you know. It sounds a little bit wrong and like almost racist to assume that, but I mean I guess I don't know that many Middle Eastern people.
I was just thinking Shaba.
Just Shaba, really, but you know, like
That's
Kumail
the exception.
Nanjiani is a pretty prominent person that I follow. He kind of gives me a lot of that. Same
Ooh,
vibe.
Undateable was a good one. Back in the
Funches.
past, Funches.
Yeah.
Rick Glassman. He's tan. I don't know if he's a person of color though. Name like Glassman. I don't know.
Not sure who that is, honestly.
No.
No.
Did you ever watch the show at all, or not too much?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I love Crystalia though,
Crystal is great. Yeah.
and Whitney Cummings. She's on that too. Or no, I'm thinking of Whitney,
Yeah. I was
which had
gonna
Whitney
say-
Cummings and Crystalia,
Yeah.
which I also didn't watch.
Me either.
But I fucking
Neither.
love Crystalia. Crystalia, I fucking love you. Please marry me. For the vine.
Yeah. Now I'm stuck on trying to think of TV shows with people of color.
They're everywhere, bro. Just turn on the TV. Look at all that color. I think honestly, like the issue doesn't exist anymore in terms of like modern shit. I mean, I don't know if people back in the day were complaining about Friends not being racially diverse, but
Probably
also
not.
like Friends ended like
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like
Get over
that's
it.
just me. But like now, trying to think of like How I Met Your Mother. Like, that's a very not recent example, but that's a more recent example
Right.
of like no people of color
right.
in a ensemble cast like that, to where it's just like it doesn't exist, but it's not unless there's someone like me. Like
New girl.
I do.
You got Schmidt or not Schmidt? I guess his name is Schmidt too.
Schmidt,
Spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one, but I mean that's not. I mean something.
It's only
Even like Damon
characters.
Wayans as
CC.
well. Yeah, CC as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like yeah, it's something that you don't think about until you have someone literally pointing it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sarah never realized it until like I started pointing out. I'm like, there's like one black person, or like there's one like person of color
Right.
in this, and then she's like, no, there's not. And I'm like, look, like just like look at it. Or we're at some place and it's just like, there's no tan people. She's like, what? I'm like, there's.
Other than you, that's
I'm like, yeah, I'm like the most like tan person in this room. She's like, no, you're not. And then like starts to look around. She's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah.
Nah, man, we got a chef in the back.
Yeah,
Cool.
his name is
You really
Robert.
cleared that up.
Yeah,
Thanks.
but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think you don't see it until someone is like at every step, like
Yeah.
because
but the thing
like,
is, like,
I point that out even in my own head where I'm like,
yeah.
eh.
But if somebody's pointing shit out at like every step, it's like you're looking for this, like to the point that you're like trying to make it into like a thing.
Well, I mean, as a person,
It's like some people only have white friends. Sometimes it just works like that, you know.
yeah, but as a
I'm
person
not saying
of
it
color,
should publicly or like in the sense of like something that's
oh,
distributed.
well, I mean, like in Hollywood, like it's not like there's only white actors. You can't tell me and be like, oh, well, the group of people that I'm looking for, there's only white dudes.
yeah, I'm
you
on
know?
Tinder only for whites.
Yeah, so
Where the whites
it's different like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, every story is different. But in my head, where it's like, there's a whole group of minorities that are like looking to be represented,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then
That's
it's
where
like,
the white shaming, or not white shaming, but whitewashing and all that kind of shit
Yeah.
comes from in terms of
Yeah.
movies lately, like especially lately.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's cool when you're like represented. Like Black Panther, I'm not black,
Right.
but seeing Black
But you see,
Panther, like
the impact of it.
you're like, holy shit, like represent. There's like 2 white people in
Mhm.
there, and like
Martin Freeman.
it's not that it's like, yeah, no white people. It's just like, it is dope to see, you know,
Yeah, it's
people of
interesting.
color like dominating the screen, and like you can identify with someone that's like not the cookie cutter white dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have issues already like identifying with people that aren't white
Uh-huh.
dudes, like just because we're all human, you know, like it's not, we don't have to. But I get that like there's a certain culture behind stuff that like is what built people and should be respected by
Mhm.
people as well, just because like everyone is what made them to some degree. So it's hard to really say like any one thing comes down to it, and I would hate for that one thing to be like skin color. in a sense. But I think with movies, I think with movies and with TV, it's better now than it ever was, and it will only get better. I think with the whitewashing and shit like that people complain about so much, or even like there's like there was like a movie about a transgender man or woman, and Scarlett Johansson was cast to play the lead, and she backed out of it because of the backlash, saying like, "Oh, really? You couldn't just cast a transgender?" Which also, like, who the fuck's gonna believe Scarlett Johansson used to be a different gender? Like,
yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
Unless like they were making her into a man in that movie, which would actually be
that would have been
interesting.
that would have been something else.
But like, who's the guy from the new Harry Potter franchise? Eddie Redmayne or something like that. He was in a movie where he played a transgender woman. Nobody complained about that, or maybe they did. I don't fucking know. I don't research this shit. But it's just like,
I think it's a little different when it's a big name like Scarlett Johansson.
Well, Eddie Redmayne's pretty big. He's a pretty big ass actor.
Well, compared to
even
Scarlett
pre-Harry
Johansson,
Potter, maybe not compared to Scarlett Johansson.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's another thing where she's
also a woman.
already done something. What was it? Ghost in a Shell.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Oh, because she wasn't an Asian person in that movie. Yeah.
And it was like, dude, that's the entire culture right there. And it's like, you're doing this again? Come on, man.
I just feel like sometimes people are really to think that somebody is whitewashing a movie because they cast a white dude or a white woman in the position of somebody who I guess was Asian in the source material. Like I get there's a certain place to be upset there, but like the alternative could be potentially that you get a shitty movie with like somebody who wasn't really right for the role. Like that's the whole. I mean, I don't want to assume that.
But look at Ghost in a Shell. It was a shitty movie with a good actor. You know, so
I'm sure, but like,
so why not at least stick to the formula, or not even do it at all? But I mean, like, you'll be all right. It's just the fact that like companies are buying these movies for like millions of dollars and putting millions of dollars, and now they want the like most money.
Right.
It's more so a money grab than anything than it is to like, let's put a fucking big name actor in there so we can make our money instead of like.
But it's also a money grab to just be remaking shit over and over and over.
I
think this is my argument, right? So Ghost in the Shell was like an American like a Hollywood remake of that anime, right?
It's like Dragon Ball
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
So because it's like a Hollywood remake, it's more inclined to be more Hollywood, more Americanized, more kind of like tuned to that spectrum of like what people are expecting, right?
So why not just call it something else?
You could call it, well, because then at that point, then people are gonna be like, oh, this is just like Ghost in the Shell. But this is my other point. There was like, we make all these remakes of like old Japanese horror movies, right? And we cast white people in those. Or maybe not. Maybe it's a black dude. Who fucking cares? But nobody's like, oh, well, this was originally a Japanese movie. Why aren't we casting Japanese casting? Because like that's already been made, dude. Like it exists. It's right there. Like we're remaking it for a different audience. We're trying to like expand it to a different audience.
That's a decent point, actually.
So like, the reason why it's different is because we're trying to like get it to a different group of people who wouldn't watch that Japanese version. Not because it's Japanese, but maybe it's just like that was made for one group of people. This is made for one group of people. It's just not always.
That's actually a very decent point.
It's not always the same shit. Because
you think about like The Ring.
Yeah.
I mean, it was far back ago. Like what was the
like why is a girl from America coming to fucking Japan to house sit a woman?
Is that The Ring? No, it was The Grudge.
The Grudge, sorry.
Yeah, The Ring was a different one. Same thing with Shudder. They went. Yeah? I think they even went to Japan.
Jeez, how good is this house sitter? Not very good. She gets haunted in the first 10 minutes. Sarah Michelle Gellar.
That was Sarah Michelle Gellar, right?
In the first Grudge movie and the second Grudge movie. She kills herself at the beginning. But yeah, it just didn't make a lot of that. Man. I think I'm not one of these people, but I know that there's people out there that will only go see a movie because of a name in it. You know?
100%, yeah.
So like, if you are making your Ghost in the Shell movie and maybe not everyone's a fan of anime or Ghost in the Shell, which is weird as fuck already, maybe not for broad audiences, and then someone's like, oh, Scarlett Johansson's in this shit?
Yeah.
might make it more interesting to me
Who's
because
a big
I like
name
her.
like Asian actress?
Donnie Yen.
Actress.
Oh, actress.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing everybody, but like
there's a couple actually. Like I'm really bad with like remembering names in general,
names
but the girl that was in
I don't want to say Lucy Liu because I feel like that's the
Lucy
easy
Liu is
answer.
pretty big though.
Yeah, she is. She's huge. But I mean,
huge.
you could attach Lucy Liu to that.
The thing is,
Granted,
though,
I
like
think like the Scarlett Johansson thing goes to like the Avengers and like
yeah, for sure.
You know, she's in the
and
Avengers.
even then, like casting her in a transgender role was I didn't see the audition. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Maybe she just did really well, but I don't see like the correlation.
Do you think they would have made Scarlett Johansson
do like
a dude?
serious movies, like dramas?
She did her
with the movie about the robot.
The phone.
Yeah, the voice.
Yeah.
I didn't get to finish it.
Yeah, she's the voice of the.
I thought the voice was Felicia Day or some shit.
No.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. Right.
That's
yeah.
cool.
You know, like next time.
Wait, you mean it wasn't played by an actual robot AI? They're fucking whitewashing our robot AI movies. Cast a real robot AI next time.
Cast Siri in that bitch.
Why wasn't Siri cast? Why wasn't Google Bixby or Samsung
Bixby's a dude.
I got
right?
a new phone. It's got Bixby on it.
That's
I haven't used it at all because I don't like talking to robots.
Yeah, I don't
Sorry,
use
robots.
I don't use Siri
not
at
accepting
all.
you yet.
Sarah put a fucking what's that stupid thing? The Alexa?
The dot, yeah. Echo.
Yeah, the Alexa thing on our wedding registry, and she was like, "Oh, this would come in so much handy." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know how I feel about talking to
God
robots."
damn it! I just remembered I have to buy you guys a wedding gift.
Xbox.
Oh my god, I'm not buying you an Xbox. See episode 3 for more reasons.
Episode 4.
4.
4.
Just dropped today, technically.
Last week, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're at 11:12 or 1 hour, 12 minutes.
Congrats on us.
You want to wrap it up or you want to keep going?
Doesn't matter to me, man. We can keep going forever.
All right. Make it 1:30.
My mind don't stop.
What time we got? Can you see the
The
time
brain
on there?
don't stop. No, I can't.
I think we're at 11 minutes.
You think? Actually, I saw this thing recently where they tried to have an AI make a movie essentially on its own.
Dude, I just see those stupid things on Twitter that's like, I forced a bot to watch 36 hours of blah, 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 and then it wrote a script, and then I like read like the first part, and it's like...
kind of what they did. It's kind of it could be the same thing.
Yeah, and it was like stupid thing, and I'm like, yeah, I fucking don't...
Well, the thing I'm thinking of, it starred Thomas Middleditch.
Oh, it was like an actual movie?
Yeah. Like, essentially, the AI wrote the script,
It's
and
an
then the
episode
actors
of,
read out the
Silicon Valley.
lines, and then pretty much from there, they just had the AI piece it together. Yeah, sure. But like at that point, they it really just it was really weird. Everything was like because so the first way they did it was that they had the AI write the script, and then they acted it out and shot it as they normally would, which I think is a much better way to do it because you can kind of translate the tone on your own. But then they had another way where they had the AI go through archived footage on like a public domain movie footage, and they had it cut the footage together from that, and that one was like a disaster. So I don't know. I think if at some point we start letting robots I feel like calling AI robots is going to become a racist term at one point in our lives. I just want to call that now.
It's going to become...
They're going to be like, we don't like being called robots. We prefer...
We don't like being called AI.
It's going to be something.
2T.
I almost fucking guarantee it. Like,
or do you think robots will just be so advanced that they're just like, yeah, we're so far past like labels, like we're on another level of existence. And then you're like, what does that mean?
I'd like to think so, but they were made by us. So I'm going to say probably not. Yeah.
Nah.
We got a lot of hang-ups, people. I don't know if you're aware of this. It's time to look past the veil a little bit.
Magic Sans Mango Saison.
Okay, seriously, I asked you guys like 14 times last week at your bachelor party what's a Saison, and nobody could fucking answer me.
I think it's Saison.
I don't care what it is.
Saison. It's a Saison.
Saison. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's just like
I wish I knew more about beer, but I don't. I just know it tastes good.
Yeah, because at what point when you know
belly.
enough about beer, you just sound like a pretentious dick. And
Yeah.
it's like, bro, I'm just trying to drink. Like, what kind
I'm
of
trying to
fucking
drink the
hops
best
are in
stuff.
this is like the least of my concern. Other than that, it has hops in it. It's like, it's what's important to me.
Hops.
It's got hops. People are weird, though. I think people will identify anything as pretentious if it has too many big words.
Or if just someone knows too much about it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, sorry, I'm learning.
Yeah, it's like
Tell me something you care about. Oh, you can't because you don't care about anything, you fucking opinionless bitch. Oh! Sorry, I didn't mean to rip on you, all my friends.
I'm hurt.
Not you, sorry.
I'm shook.
It's not like my friends listen to this anyway. They don't support what I do.
Right? Like,
it's funny too because oh my god, I do not want to talk about this on the podcast, but I do have
everyone
like a lot
says
of
they
friends.
they got love for you.
Yeah,
and they'll support anything that you do. I don't see your fucking likes and
you
your
can't fucking
shares,
retweet
son.
something. What's it gonna do? Ruin your reputation?
Not even my own wife listens to these.
Well, honestly, in the perspective of somebody who already knows you very well, I imagine, like, if I was dating you, I probably wouldn't listen to this.
Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't.
So I don't blame her one bit.
I want to talk about this because I don't think she'll ever watch this. How much time I got?
Dude, don't worry about time.
Well, I also have to pee, so there's that. We talk about porn
Right, yeah.
a lot. Not that we actually talk about, like, what's our favorite porn star or whatever. We have in the past,
Janice
but we talk about porn a lot on this podcast. And I talk about porn a lot in my day-to-day life. Not that I, like, I was watching this porn video and, like,
Bro, check out this video.
It's just, like, I, like, make a lot of correlations because I think correlations to porn, like, put a lot of things in perspective and are really interesting.
It could definitely,
You know? Especially, like, the example that I made was, like, technology with porn. How porn has used, like, VR and how they've adapted to everything that technology has put out.
Yeah. You even got those weird sex robots and the machine that jacks you off.
Porn has been on the up and up with that. And it's an industry that will continuously be like that. But she was like, why do you talk about porn? I'm like, it's just fucking interesting. Like, it is. Like, she's like, how do you know about this? I'm like, fucking the internet is a very strange and dark place. So to kind of talk about porn again for the fourth podcast.
Here's the porn segment, everybody, that you've been waiting for. The porn segment. Last 27 minutes of every episode, we're going to talk about porn. Let it out.
2 gay porn actors.
Okay.
They got engaged.
Okay.
Right after filming a gangbang scene.
Okay.
Which I thought was really cool, but also really funny as a article. I didn't read the article. I just read the headline, and I was like, that's hilarious. I'm definitely going to talk about this. But
high five, bro. We just fucking gangbanged the shit out of those dudes.
Yeah. And then, like, they took a picture
what should we
after.
do to celebrate?
It was
First
like
off,
everyone
wipe
was
off all
like,
this cum.
Yeah, everyone was like smiling and clapping, and I was like, this is a very nice picture. You would never know that these dudes all just got done.
Right.
Wailing on each other with their penis.
Like a fucking wiffle bat. That is impressive, I gotta say.
Yeah. I don't know why we talk about porn so much. It just comes up.
Yeah, I don't think...
it's never, like, graphic either.
Yeah, of course
which is
not.
good.
It's just life being made, y'all.
Yeah.
Chill out, bruh. Yeah, I don't know. I think porn is just... It's like one of... Okay, so I think what it boils down to is a lot of people have a hard time talking about sex. In general, like, there's a certain group of people when it comes down to talking about sex, they will... Like, I think there's a lot of people that, like, by all means will avoid saying penis. Like, no matter what it takes. I've even, like, been with girls where, like, no matter what, they will not say penis. It's like, yeah, but you're sucking my... And it's like, stop it there! It's not a penis! I just, like, I think for a long... And maybe I just hang out with immature people sometimes, but a lot of people for a long time, I feel like people just had the hardest time talking about anything sexual without using, like, words. Like, because there are terms you just use, but people will avoid using, like...
You're not wrong.
That's just the storyline, okay?
Yeah.
If we're trying to get the point across in this episode of this porn.
How is anyone to know that you're banging your stepbrother?
It has. I'll let you finish. Keep kicking yourself in the face. Keep it. Oh, you done? No.
Nah, she'll go all day, son.
But if I move, her entire basis of being planted is fucking destroyed. Now I forgot what I was gonna say. I truly did.
On that note,
Winona.
121. I think that's a
Sure.
Rapski.
Let's do it, everybody, here on another episode of the Underachievers Podcast. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate it.
For coming
if you guys have anything you'd like us to talk about in the future, just shoot us tweet skis at Cold Soup 21s.
Ski.
Also, why is it Cold Soup 21? Was Cold Soup taken? I was curious.
Cold Soup was taken. 21 is like a number that I use.
It's a number that I use to
well,
represent the age in which I was when I could first.
No,
conceive.
it's like it's a date for something that I no longer like hold memory to, but it's just like.
But yeah, it
was like one of the first numbers that I used. So
I was always curious if there was like a reasoning behind it, but
yeah,
and then
Cold Soup was taken.
Cold Soup.
Shout out.
Whoever owns at Cold Soup, hit us up.
Also to the person that owns Sorry We're Closed.
What?
You're a dick. That was actually the name of my like first like production
Sorry,
thing
We're
that I wanted to do
Closed.
was Sorry We're Closed. Based off of Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead. Like, you know, on the scene, like they're like they're in the Winchester and then they're like the first zombie comes up like in the opening scene and it's like sorry we're closed, and at the end of the movie it's like there's like the climax and he's like shooting the gun and everything. He's like sorry we're closed. So I was like I always just loved that
bad.
Sorry You're Closed
I like
Productions.
Sorry, we're Closed Productions.
Yeah,
we're Closed Productions, not Open Productions.
So that was like the first one, and I tried to get the Twitter for that, but there was like an inactive account, and I tried like reporting them and everything. Didn't work out.
Yeah, I think it takes a little bit of effort. Or if you have like some sort of following on one platform and somebody else has the name you want on a different, on the same platform, you can request it at a certain point of inactivity if you have a certain amount of followers yourself. Yeah.
But
so I'm not sure where that comes from.
I'm good on Cold Soup. I like Cold Soup.
Yeah,
Cold Soup.
I think it's clever. I like it.
Cold Soup. Ice Cold Comedy coming in.
The Ice Cold Comedy coming in hot. Yeah, but if is there anything you guys want us to talk about in the future, or any thoughts, or I still would love to take questions. I think giving advice is something I like to do a lot. So, but I know it's a pretty common podcast segment, so I don't know if people resonate towards that or not.
I don't know if I would take. I don't know if I would take advice from you.
Unhelpful advice. I don't know. I just feel like I like to hear about other people's lives and where they stand, and then, you know, what would you do in that situation? I think it's interesting whether or not our opinion means anything, which, as we know in life, it doesn't.
But we could help.
Yeah,
we can help. Probably.
Yeah. Anything else you wanna? You got a 4th of July video that was pretty good that you threw up. Something else recently.
The 4th of July, I just put out the vlog.
I
gotta promote the vlog. I like uploaded that and then I didn't do anything with that.
I think I was at work and I was doing something.
Yeah, so I gotta promote that. There's a new video coming out soon.
Vlogging.
Yeah, the vlog is cool.
Vlogs are cool. Yeah, it's kind of like a podcast in its own way. It's always interesting, I think, to see like a glimpse into somebody else's day to day. Yeah, but I think if somebody's also filming their day to day might be more like productive or like interesting. You know?
So the weird thing, so like we were in San Diego getting our marriage license, and I like vlogged the entire thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what you guys went for.
Yeah, the marriage license.
You can't do it here?
No, because you have to get the marriage license in the city that you're getting married.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I vlogged all out there, and it was fun. Like, and it to me, it kind of puts you in that mood where you're like, you're on it.
Yeah.
You know? So that was like super cool to just have that feeling of like, I'm ready. Like I'm witty. But even then, like I was like, me and Sarah were talking, and it was just a good conversation, and met some cool people, got some good stuff. And then there's the part of me that like wanted to record more, but also record less. Like there's a day that we were at the beach that I probably should have recorded more, but sometimes you got to live life. And I think like vlogging
kind of like puts like a whole third perspective on something that you do constantly.
It takes you out of it. You know, like if I have a camera up, Like,
what you need is a guy, like just a camera guy.
but even then, like, there's still a camera present, you know? Like,
Yeah.
if you see that a camera's on you, you act one of two ways.
Right.
Whether you're, like, trying to, like, be on it, or
Mhm.
you're just like, I don't want to be
Right, yeah.
on this. So,
Just depends where you stand.
sometimes it's just cool to, like, hang out. Like,
Yeah,
hanging out
for
on
sure,
the beach
100%.
was fun.
And that's why I think with like, even though a podcast is recorded, I feel like when people have a mic in front of them, for one, they're more inclined to say more things that are going to come to their mind, rather than, like, you know, just a lot of people, I think they're holding back on a lot of stuff they're trying to say or that they want to say.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like when the mic's there, it's like, just let it all out, man.
Go
Somebody's going to hear it. Because, like, you know how often on a day-to-day thing, you're like, you say something and somebody doesn't hear it, you know? But on when you have a podcast and you're recording, like, it's like somebody is gonna hear this either way because I've said it.
Yeah. It's like all my
whether or not Marco hears
Yeah.
it, I'm like raw, uncut.
But yeah, send questions, like, comment,
Send
subscribe, all
things.
that good stuff.
If anybody's there, let us know.
Oh, fuck! I'm getting a cramp. Oh my god.
And to our friends, retweet.
Yeah, share that shit, you fuckers.
I'll retweet your single every time, but you can't retweet our podcast. Come on, man. I'm not salty about it, but your single ain't that good.
Catch you later, guys.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. Peace. Among worlds.